If you've got a Chinese excavator and it's getting hot inside the engine compartment, and they do, and you want to try to abate that heat, and why wouldn't you? It could mean, who knows, it could mean wear and tear on the hydraulic system, as well as the motor itself getting hot. I've seen some people that say that the gas tank got so hot that the gas inside was boiling. I haven't found that to be true on mine, but several have said that. So if you got a problem with that and you want to abate the heat, let me show you what I have done to try to cool it down just a little bit inside the engine compartment. So here's what I've done. I've wrapped the muffler. This cage is around the muffler. Took the cage off. I'll show you all that. Wrap the muffler with a heat tape that people use when they're building hot rods and stuff. They use them for wrapping the headers and exhaust pipes, things like that. Anything they want to keep cool. It's perfect for this. It was easy to do, and I think it looks pretty snappy myself. I think it looks pretty dang sharp. So let me show you what I did and the outcome. Did it help? The red arrows are where the side screw locations are. I didn't show pulling those off. Pretty easy to get out. This is taking off the little extension that comes off the muffler. More on that later. Cage pulls off. This is some great heat tape, high temperature stuff that I got on Amazon. I'm going to link to that below. Webbed, just a webbing tape, really good. Now I just start by wrapping it just around it one time, trying to mainly get the tape to hold and not fray and come loose. But I go around it, and then I go up and down. I mean, on every side of it. Pulling it as tight as I can and holding it with one hand, holding it tight while I continue the wrap. That's the key, trying to keep it tight. The manifold coming from the engine is right there, and you're not going to be able to wrap that, or I didn't wrap it, but you do want to wrap the bottom of the muffler, and because that's where the manifold comes into the muffler. Tight as I can get it. Cutting off some of the frayed ends, and the tape does fray just a little bit. Got to find the holes now. You got to put the screws back in, so you got to find the holes that you just took the screws out of. These are the side screws. And I took an ice pick, found the holes. And then I did something that I don't know whether it's exactly has to be done or not. I put some wire around the muffler tape just to hold it in place. I just didn't want it fraying and coming undone with the cage around it. I want it to be tight to the muffler. So I put a couple of strands of electric fence wire, some light gauge wire around it, pulled it tight, and then pulled it even tighter with the pliers. Cut the ends off. I'll put the cage back on, but I learned something the hard way, so let me show you what's going on. I put the cage on. Goes on pretty easy, and I felt like as I was putting the cage on, if I hadn't had the wire on, they could have pulled some of the webbing loose. So didn't want to do that. Find the screw holes. You just kind of poke through the webbing. Use a screwdriver there to kind of ream the webbing out so the screw would go in easier. It's not hard. Just it takes a little, poking around a little bit before you can feel the screws start. And once they start, they're good. Get the screws started, then tighten them down. 2 on the side, 2 on the top. And it's about that time that I found out that I could not screw that cut and screw in there, that little extension there, with the cage on. So I pulled the cage back off, screwed it down, got a cut and screw, screwed it back in the hole. Then put the cage back on, muffler cage. A little tighter fit, a little harder to get on, but it'll go. Bolt it back down, tighten them in place. Now we're ready. But there's one more thing I added, and that's a chrome extension. Because I wanted to get that exhaust out of the unit, out of the engine compartment. As it comes, the exhaust ends about an inch or two inside the engine compartment. So all the engine gases, all the heat from that exhaust tip also stays in the engine compartment and can be cause a lot of heat. So I put this little extension on there. I'll tell you more about it later. And I decided to wrap the extension also because that part of the extension is inside the engine compartment. So I wanted to get all the heat I could out of the engine compartment. So I wrapped this, I wrapped the tailpipe also with this webbing, which is actually what it's made for. Wrapping tailpipe, mufflers, headers. Now, the manufacturer says this tape does not have to be wet. The way they've designed this, it's not. You don't have to wet it. But I'm just wondering if I'd have wetted the tape before I wrapped it, if it would have held together better, if it been easier to wrap, if it would have stuck to itself better, and I wouldn't have had to hold it this tight. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I'm going ahead and wrapping the extension, the webbing with the wire that I used around the muffler. Bending the ends down. You don't want to reach in there when you're changing oil or something and just rip your arm open on those ends. I always tuck those ends, any wire that you do, tuck them in. All right, so I worked it a little bit. Definitely got it hot. The tape is smoking. It's probably how it sets, how it forms and sits in its form. But I mean, that's what it's for. It's like rated, I don't know, 3,000 degrees or something. I forget what it is. It's rated high. But it does apparently smoke a little bit. I don't know whether you can see that smoke coming off of it. You got a little smell to it, but it feels cooler. Heat is not radiating off the smoke is, but heat is not radiating off that muffler. Anyway, I will say also, putting that extension on there quietens it down quite a bit. So before I put the exhaust extension on there, and it comes about that much longer, I had to cut it off because it wouldn't fit through the hole. You have to cut. I had to cut it off a little bit. But before that, the muffler was stopping about right there. So much of the heat was coming in. So a lot of what's going on, sound-wise, heat-wise, is coming from that. But also, I mean, really, I don't feel that much heat. I mean, it's warm. I can definitely tell the engine's warm, but I don't feel it like I did before. So it just seems like it's going to keep it cooler, and hopefully it will. I thought about wrapping this all the way out to the edge, so somebody just doesn't walk by and get burned on that thing. But you know, it wants to kind of fray. Now, if I see that after it heats up, it solidifies, and that may very well be, I'm not sure, then I may go ahead and do another wrap here and get it all the way out to the edge. But as of right now, I think it not only is doing what it's supposed to be doing, I think it looks pretty daggum good. Come on, man, come on. You know that looks good. Anyway, I'll put a link to the tape below on Amazon. I'll put a link to that extension. If you got a Rippa, you know, it depends on what you have. And some of them, some of the other Chinese excavators I've noticed have an oblong cut, not just a hole. So you might could get away with having the full length and not have to cut it off. But this one on the Rippa, the hole is so small there that it would, you know, what I did was just put it on there and then open this up and saw where it was kind of hitting on it, and that's where I cut it off. But anyway, we're about ready to get back to work. But I thought I'd show you that, and look for my other videos on this excavator. Gonna have lots of them. All right, I think that's it. We're gone.